Arsenal game that was with Liverpool, and reports saying that they are not really serious injury. So those are some of the big stories. But of course, the regional league also in West Nile has kick-started match day 1. So a lot of games being played, and we did see how, of course, teams are getting in there. It seems to you would see that teams that I personally predicted that would be having a better game this season, yes, in their match day 1 had a very, very good game throughout it. And at the same time, we also did see that some of the teams that newly came into the league, regional league, are also trying and struggling to see that they get themselves the best. So that is one of the biggest things that we should be talking about. But all in all, joining me in the studios is my brother Toko Badru, who of course joins me straight away. Toko, 100th anniversary of Federation is what you're putting on. Of course, I was asking, how did you get this? And you were like, you a partner. That was off anyway. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. I've worked with the Federation for a very long time. I am a very successful person in terms of sports. Specifically football. I think I've done my part. FIFA celebrated 100 years. In the 100 years, the plan was to play in the World Cup, but the qualifiers were also part of the World Cup, and so sometimes it happens. But first, allow me congratulate West Nile TV for having participated in a number of corporate social responsibilities, including in the Rotary Cancer Run. The most recent probably being in the New Life Hospice. Palliative care work that probably took place on Saturday. That was on 26 when the team took a walk from OPM grounds and walked about 10 kilometers, and this probably was the third time that this happened. And of course, did have a number of partners, including in Arua Regional Referral Hospital, Rotary Club, Rotary International, and then Lions Club, International, and of course Rotary clubs in Arua. That probably did actually come in numbers. Apart from that, of course, Oak Diagnostic Center was on board. We did have radio patches on board as a media house. West Nile TV was on board. We probably did have, a very big participation in there. Well, the beauty is you can still be able to get yourself a kit at 30,000 Uganda cedis as much as the work is done, and that probably means that the support will be able to work in there. So the New Life Hospice probably would be put in place at Dadamu, as the place had been secured, or venue has been secured to put in that structure. The first time it happened was a walk from Arua Hill Stadium, by then Arua Hill Playgrounds, to Onduparaka. The second one probably happened last year, and this probably is the third one. Now we could blame it on COVID that took about 2 of our years in a productive way. Well, apart from that, the tertiary institution games probably could be coming in. The technical school games will be coming back, and of course they will be coming by next weekend. Now we expect schools like Flamingo Vocational School. We expect the likes of Maichora to come through, a number of others probably, competing in about 4 days. A competition starts on Wednesday and ends probably on Saturday. That probably could be next week, and of course that means Jerusalem Saleh grounds and Arua Core PTC grounds would be as busy as never before, and probably games will be unfolding in there. There will be netball, there will be volleyball, there will be football as well. Would like to appreciate the city sports office, the City Football Association, and of course other partners that probably could be involved. The last time they organized such an activity, I think, was about 2 weeks or probably a week ago, when they organized the university football, netball, and of course volleyball, and probably culminated into a successful time with Muni University winning football trophy, with IU probably coming in through winning volleyball, and of course we did see Uganda Christian University dominating and probably winning netball. So that means that they actually have a very busy schedule and they're doing better in there. Well, on the 28th of December, there will be a run in Arua, and that run is aimed at helping the girl child, and it is being organized by Sidalen, who probably is a Gazelle and came through in there. So the beauty is that we probably having the West Nile has come back and give to the community, and of course now we have everything we want, and there's nothing that probably could be scaring us in terms of giving support to our own. There was a Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. Now we say Buy West Nile and Build West Nile.
Okay, exactly. Those are very brilliant updates coming right from, that is the ends of what is happening in West Nile, of course, a lot. And just like said, he's been a pioneer. He's one of the pioneers in sports here and a lot of things. So you should always be expecting a lot of updates every time I host Toko Badru right here. But all in all, I want us to start with one of the biggest thing that is right now happening. Let's start with Arua City Football Club, Toko, because if you look at what exactly is happening right now in Arua City, you will see that maybe they are trying to strategize this time around to see that things work the way they've been waiting to. I mean, things are working for them out, because I'm seeing partners already coming through. You're seeing that people coming through to see that they are able to how do I call it? Okay, getting attached to the club. One, this afternoon, we did see them unveil a sponsor, in fact, a partnership of Al-Shan Medical. A clinic,
yeah?
Yes, a clinic that gives will be, of course, giving them at least the treatments and the rest and the day. So before that, they had also an engineering company, I think, that also they unveiled as a sponsor. That took their, it's called Eritha Investments Company, yeah. That also took on the training kit package. I think there's some sense that is coming to the Arua City, because the previous 2 seasons they have not been doing enough, but now you would see that the marketing department is doing long, and this time around I think they are trying to see that they get so professional in a way that you look at how they set up is working out in a regional league club. They have a CEO who was who passed through thorough, of course, interview that was put ahead. The other personnel are also there. They have Atiku, who is their coach. They have Aloro Said, who is their assistant coach, and the rest of the people. Now, Umar not Abdallah, but Umar has been given, he has become their manager. Yeah. Mohamedin, yeah. He's now their manager. The team, Lumu still remains the club chairman. So if you look at the structure, you will see that Arua City is trying to set some pace. Do we see them successful this time? Because in their first game, they played in fact, a draw, which was 1-1 all at Police Ground. And later on, maybe we shall talk about the issue that is also affecting Arua City Football Club. But for now, let's start with this positive report that is coming structure-wise.
Well, I think we should understand that the game of football probably has taken a new twist. And of course, especially when it comes to numbers. We speak about a team that has support from about 380,000 people, according to the new UBOS report. We are about 380,000 in the city, and of course 114,000, around 900 probably do come from the Central Division. The rest of the people come from Ivu Division. Now the beauty is that the 2 divisions have contributions or probably monies that they collect up to a tune of about 5 billions. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us that the city probably ISOF can actually find its football club and probably other projects. But then we would actually look at the partners that are coming on board. They don't actually need to be convinced to come on board. As long as they're in the city, it is much easier just to order them or tell them that you've got to invest money in there. What is affecting the city football club is criteria. One, I expected the board to be formulated. The board should have been of persons who are independent, persons who are attached to the game, persons who are not working at the city. I don't go with the idea of having technical persons or persons probably running the club within the city, apart from the office of the sports officer. Now, I'd expected Lumu has done enough. I'd expected Lumu probably, to do a different, to play a different role, and we expect the mayor to come in as a president. The mayor should have come in as a president. Then somewhere the city clerk should be able to take a role and probably take a lead. And I would expect a budget to be boosted. That budget should go up. The money they spend annually should go to even billions. Because at the end of the day, this is a product that probably could be able to market the city, even me inclusive, because I'm trying to look at how do we get somewhere, how do we get to improve ourselves. But that aside, apart from the human resource they have, the recruitments they have actually been able to make, and you'd understand that it took them time to do the rebrand, because this was former Diamond Stars, and that probably, at one point they were debates on ownership issues, and I think finally the city probably got the right to own the club. Now, one thing that I would recommend is, much as we have the CEO, but who does the CEO probably report to? So it would be important for the city probably to be able to have a board of independent persons. I want to say this a number of times again and again, that it is not proper when actually people get to be appointed in those, people should have a leadership kind of, procedure. First of all, before you register these funds, before actually have them, probably elected or appointed, you should be able to have a membership, probably introduced within the community, and people be able to, pay. First of all the teachers, all the civil servants, people working in the city, it is a must that they should be able to get about 2 jerseys per year. Now that means if Jeze costs about 50,000 Uganda cedis, each civil servant is going to be contributing about 100,000 Uganda cedis. How many civil servants do we have in the entire city? We're speaking about Ricky up to Dramachak. We're speaking about Leah up to Lokira Godo. We're speaking about Eleku, a place that's down a neighboring Terego after the Abbey farm, or probably even connecting through to about areas of Voluko. I mean, this is big. Now the point is simple. Can the city sit down and see how football is run? Can they be able to do things beyond football? Can we have a volleyball club? Can we have a basketball club? Can we have an athletics club? And all these are attached to the city. And I think Chania Ronald is capable, alongside Lika Mukhtar, to probably be able to put this. And I've trusted the two division heads, especially the mayors. I've also trusted the division clerks. I spoke recently to Malik. I also spoke to Angudubo Emma, and I think they are very positive. They are trying to make sure that this football club probably runs better. The aspect of accountability is what is key.
Yeah, and now of course a very big one. But if you look at still the same team, you have, yes, structure-wise, you feel there are a few things that needs to be put in line to see that this works out, yes. But this is a city that is saying there's no money. And even the monies that are located in the budget does not come out, according to the close sources in there. I was talking to one of the friends. It's like this money is always on paper, and they don't come easily. Now, we understand what exactly it comes, because they have to wait for the local revenue. And the local revenue at times, which may not may not come out as expected. Obviously, you would, but I think breaking down this in quarterly budget would be one thing. Releasing the monies maybe quarterly would be very good, because if you don't, then what if you the city like gets low local revenue? What happens to the club? So the club itself does not have anything that is going to be keeping it there. The kits that we're talking about have not come out. How many people buy these kits? The merchandise, maybe. That's also another question. Now, let's leave that aside.
I think before probably even we leave it aside, because we speak about a very pertinent issue, a very serious issue. Now, my expectation is that if the mayor can be able to take, the city mayor can be able to take that mantle, that is Honorable Wadisa Munyakwa, if he is to take a lead in this, because the budget is about 70 millions. Now, if this budget can be upgraded, and probably something better comes, because Central Division collected about 3.9 something billions, close to 4 billions. Arua Division, Aivu Division probably collects about 1 billion shillings. Now, the 4% that we're talking about from the central government is probably very small money. Now, what about if the city council probably sees it very important, and that the club itself be offered tenders? They can even be a CBO at some point, much as they're owned by government, and they can make monies. So maybe the point is simple. Why don't the people up there take lead? Why does it take the planner to probably be able to lead the football club? And I think it is not proper enough. Because one, Lumu at his personal capacity may probably be doing his very best, but I don't think he would do more than what the mayor can do. Because the mayor has authority, the mayor has some money that he can be able to spend, and of course we'd want to see the mayor come in matches.
Because if you look at the first round,
does mayor watch these matches?
When Arua City was taken over, I think entirely you would see Lumu, even his personal van would transport these players. I don't know whether they were paying him or no, but you would see that it is his van that even will transport these players and come. Maybe those are some of the things that come in there. But now, what about the city?
Lumu just needs to resign.
And then give it
resign, and the mayor should know he has a role, unless if they don't want to step up and they put some good money and give him so that he can be able to spend with the team. Because I was talking about a board, that the board should be able to take mandate and run the club, especially the CEO has the day-to-day way of running the club. Now, if the CEO does not have the pressure from the board, if the coach is not having the pressure from the CEO, if you don't have the financial empowerment, are you going to be transporting these guys using the waste car? Are you going to use a miracle of these players probably flying from one end to another? Because this is a city team. You'd expect lives of the youth who are playing there to be better. Just like KCCA, can we take this guy to do a benchmarking with the KCCA football club? If the guys are really viewing and probably following, it is very important let them go and learn how KCCA is run. Let them see how a number of teams are probably that are attached to cities are run. Even Lira, City Football Club, probably down there, is doing better. So the point is simple. If they cannot run football, they should try something else. If they can run football, probably they need to learn lessons. If they cannot be able to run this football club, they should go to Onduparaka. They go to probably a number of clubs that are in here and become sponsors or partners. Because I don't think the city is lacking sponsors. What the city lacks right now in terms of football is leadership. And how does the leadership come? Comes with trust. Somebody should be given big money to run this football club. People should be appointed in the management board, and people should be in the board, and they should be able to do it. They shouldn't be as confused as the region, where the people in the CDP who are making judgments are again the people in competitions. The same people who are running politics. Have you seen Natural run Uganda Premier League? No, because she knows her role is to supervise. Football shouldn't be a popcorn thing. Big for nothing. It should be something resourceful.
That's one thing, but of course, performance-wise, that's one thing that has come. Now, when I looked at the team personally, I also saw the weaknesses. How exactly? Of course, I watched their game. It was at least a good game, you could say, but the players look unfit. According to the social, the report that put 1st of October was when they kicked off their trainings. To an extent, you will feel that a timing which was not really enough. You would see it from the players, and then they got in new players, but of course young boys. Now my question is, do you think the coaches in charge would get that? Because there's Atiku, there's Loro Saidi, who is also right there. I think these are all CAF C coaches who have been right there, who have tried in the
I think it is quite conflicting, because Atiku is under Muni University. The university games are on. Muni is just from picking a win against the University of Kisubi, and probably drawing a game against drawing a game when they faced University of East Africa. Now that means if Atiku has an engagement and probably the team, Muni University is playing in Kampala, that means Atiku may not be in the touchline. Aloro Said is busy with these ushers. I'm not trying to disparage them, but of course, can we give guys jobs and that they stick to one job? Can we have that particular authority and probably have these people do the job? Because most of the people who are working in here, the people you're mentioning, have other side gigs, which probably makes it improper. That means they're not getting the monies they deserve. Can we have persons appointed and they're running the club and their business ends with the club? Because if you can entrust the coach, good enough, they have 2 pitches that they can be able to use apart from Greenlight Stadium. They have a raw playgrounds. They have the police grounds. Now that means they can even use Greenlight. So they have an advantage. If they can also only wake up and probably start thinking like people want to see football progress, the things would be right. Because you see, positively, we should be able to admit that this club is our responsibility. We have people who are patent, people like Lika Mukhtar, somebody has masters in sports science, like somebody like Chandia Ronald, the sports officer of the Central Division and probably running things. He has a master in sports science. Why don't you allow these people to take a lead? And despite the football management and the sports management courses they have done. So I think this is not proper, and to work it out, I said there should be a tour of Kampala City Council Authority to see how things are run. How does KCCA survive? How do they make monies? How do they get partners on board? This is not different from KCCA. If there are billions, there should be millions to spend. There should be hundreds going to the people. There should be thousands the fans get to enjoy. Football should be a project.
Now that brings me to the staff of course, infrastructure, let's say the stadium or the playgrounds that these clubs do use. Now, one of the biggest shocking moments on that day was, I think if you saw all the posters or all the social handles or even their statements, they were saying Arua City was going to host their game at PTC grounds in Vara, and at last by around 1, they had to change because Vara had said they're still using their, they're working on their renovating or working on their ground. So there is already a conflict that is coming in there. Arua City does not have let's say a belonging stadium or playground that is there, which has affected them a little bit. I'm yet to see where next they will play their next game, because yes, talking to 1 or 2 people, they say, yeah, we can use this, we can use Invara, we can use Greenlight, we can use Arua Primary, we have what is that place called? Down at Niva, but it's still under process. How long has it taken for Niva to be worked upon? Up to now, it's not yet working. So this level of disorganization, don't you think this will affect Arua City itself? Because that's one thing that I'm looking at. 2, I think the leaders, some leaders in the Arua City as a council should also style up and leave or swallow their pride of saying, oh, these are things that belongs to the city, which is okay, yeah? But remember, there are people who maintain this. You saw the saga between Onduparaka and
the city,
rest,
yeah.
yes. So still at last you would see that this is it. Acquiring this, at least you've been, just like you've been in the game for quite a long time. As a football club, what should Arua City do, football club do, to make sure that they have at least a ground that is able to accommodate them and they know this is where we're going to play? Because at last they had to go to police ground. A small pitch that you saw that the game even maybe was affected, maybe a few. The stadium was not to the standard. What should they do?
Yeah, I think the problem trickles down to the region. The region had an authority or opportunity probably to go to check and to see whether
of which they didn't also.
The football pitches that the teams are hosting games are deemed necessary and probably fit, and that's one. Two, I also expected communication, because I think one of the biggest problems here is communication. The management of Arua City Football Club should have written to Arua Core PTC ground management to probably inquire about the availability of the pitch that they could be able to use, and then they have other options like Arua Primary School playgrounds that they should actually be able to put a perimeter fence.
By the way.
They should put a perimeter fence in there if they are to use it, and probably see how they can improve the turf or probably the grass in there. And then they also have the chance of getting to move their games. They could play in Ramachaku, they can play in Lia, they can play as long as they're in the city. But importantly, they should be able to have the communication. And I think there's no better home for them other than Greenlight Stadium that is in a better state. The point is, how do we work together? How do we make this partnership good?
Yeah?
Because I don't think the city has a challenge in hosting matches. I don't think the city has a challenge in mobilizing funds. I don't think the problem is probably coming in from within. The problem should be most of the people, you talked about changes. It could be the changes. Maybe the new people don't know how the criteria works. They don't know the people to talk to. And maybe the letters could have just dropped in Inyau River. And maybe that's, yeah, because if you've communicated in the modern way, you expect the communications back. If Paida United was a funny team,
would say no.
They would say, yeah? This is not the place where I was supposed to host the game.
True.
And so we're going back, and it would have been a win for them.
So this, of course, the region also has to look into this, because I'm told that they didn't even go for inspections of the pitches that are supposed to be. So clubs should also style up that grounds are not inspected. You see, for big league teams or for this other. In fact, last season, they did inspections for all the grounds that are supposed to. I remember they even had writings that some of the clubs were not able to host their games in their homes that they had chosen to be because of not being to the standard. One of them that was affected was Ware. I think Zewu, in fact, Zewu Football Club was affected. So this time round, I think it's time for, that is the region, to also style up. Yeah, because these are clubs. If you can say clubs should go and pick their how do they say, their licenses in Yumbe. What about you coming all the way from Yumbe to come and inspect some ground in Arua, go and inspect in Pakwach, and the rest of the thing? I think that is one thing they should really come up with and see that it works out. But all in all, that's one big thing that has been happening, and that is what happened during the match day one. So we're expecting for the betterment, and maybe look into that this needs to be changed or needs to be worked upon ahead of the match day two that is also yet to come in right there. Now let's look at how teams really played during the weekend, because there were a couple of games that were played, including, of course, the game of that started on Friday, where Alpha Rising Stars did beat Team Parombo. Mission Star, that's a new team that just joined this season, of course, in the regional league again for the 2024-2025 season. And then there's Arua Airfield against Pakwach. Pakwach Youngsters did beat Arua Airfield at Greenlight Stadium, 3-1. Jumantown Council did also beat Yumbe Hotspurs, which commonly has been known as Ottoman, under the stewardship of the former Calvary Football Club coach Jarul. And then of course, Androvu FC lost to Total by 1-0. Saturday, so of course, a couple of games. Arua City 1-1 with Pajobi. I mean, by the United. Then Kuluva Rainbow did beat Padea Rising by 2-0. Whereas Araka Football Club lost to that is Tipsa. Some are already on social media. You're seeing that others are like, how do you fire a coach after one game, or how do you fire a coach because he's playing tiki taka? Those are some of the stories coming. But of course, that is a game. Barakala Football Club beat team of course, Okokoro United by 2-1. On Sunday, Nebi had a very good encounter. Of course, the highest number of goals so far registered in this league was Nebi with 6-0. I did say much about Nebi. This season, they have really equipped their team and added more names. Whereas Nile Hippos did beat Team Okolo Central. It was a Madi Derby. You did see Madi Okolo Derby. Koboko Rising did beat Dramachako. Dramachako, I expected that because I said it, that Dramachako started their trainings very late. Very late. And indeed, I think 1 or 2 weeks to that is the game. Kochi Urban against Nyangilia. Yes, Nyangilia Super Eagles. Nyangilia beat Kochi Urban by 1-0. So that's how the whole game went on during, that is the match day 1 of the West Nile Regional League, unless you have any other team that you're saying this time will be a threat.
I think the regional league started on a good note. A number of positive results probably came through, but of course the point is how do we get to improve the league? How do you put things in a better state? Because I was trying just to look at the performance of the Yumbe teams. Raka losing a game, Kochi Urban losing a team, only Bakar City probably coming through winning. Hotspurs, a new team, they're still acclimatizing to the situations. And then down in Madiland, there is only one team that plays in there, and that is Ajuban Town Council, picking in a win, and of course getting a red card in that particular game. Nebi Central starting on a good note, Paida United coming in away, probably getting that point in there. And of course, to me, I think the biggest result was the Airfield, probably losing to Pakwach Young Stars, a game that Airfield hosted at Gorilla Stadium. So I think better results will be coming in, but of course I expect a lot of improvement in terms of management, because the number of issues that were not handled well, especially in the issues of petition, the team that won by about 20 goals to I think 1, up to now, the issues has not been resolved. And then somewhere you probably could be looking at the aspect of how do teams get to rebrand, how do teams change names, because Lear City is supposed to now be a team of its own. It is still Alpha Rising Star. Somewhere Ottoman just easily become Yumbe Hotspurs, and those are some of the things to look at. I would hope that every other person who steps into the game gets the knowledge, and they are supported by the community. People should be able to know their roles, because if you don't play your roles right, you get it harder. Nyangilia Super Eagles just came in, and you saw what they did. Amazing stuff in there. So unity is very key in the game, and of course allowing people to flow with how they want to do things is right. If it is a community thing, let the community take a lead. If it's your personal thing, know how to attract community and probably make sure they get to enjoy, because it's a business. If you win games, you get the crowd. If you lose games, then the crowd probably gets to run away.